Some stories begin in luxury, others begin in silence. But this one begins under a bridge. In one of the busiest cities in Africa, where millions hurry past every day, there was a young woman the world refused to see. No makeup, no spotlight, no safety net, just hunger, fear, and the cold concrete beneath her back. She had lost her father, her home, and every place that ever felt like love. But what she had not lost, though no one could see it yet, was destiny. What if the place you were forced into was actually the place your life was waiting to change? This is the true to life inspired story of a girl who slept under a bridge and woke up one step away from becoming a supermodel. Stay with me, because what happens next will leave you breathless. Chineneye was not always homeless. Once, she had a father who laughed loudly and called her my little star. Once, she had a home filled with familiar smells and the sound of evening prayers. But life has a way of turning suddenly, without warning, without mercy. Her father died unexpectedly, leaving behind grief, confusion, and one devastating truth. There was no will. With his passing, the house changed, the air changed, and the woman who had once tolerated Chineneye now revealed a cruelty she had been hiding all along. Her stepmother's words became sharp. Her presence became unbearable. Every meal felt like a favor. Every day felt like punishment. The cruelty didn't come all at once. It crept in slowly, through insults, cold stares, and impossible rules. Chineneye was reminded daily that she no longer belonged. Her stepmother blamed her for everything: the bills, the stress, even the silence left behind by her father's death. Eventually, the emotional wounds became unbearable. One night, after a particularly harsh confrontation, Chineneye made a decision that would change her life forever. She packed nothing. She planned nothing. She only knew one thing for certain: she could not stay another day in that house. So she walked out into the dark. Lagos is alive, loud, endless. But for someone with nowhere to go, it can also be terrifying. Chineneye wandered the streets with no destination, learning quickly that survival required creativity. She picked up scraps, plastic bottles, metal pieces, anything she could sell for a few coins. Food was never guaranteed. Sleep was never safe. She rested wherever exhaustion overtook fear, beside storefronts, under stairwells, sometimes beside other homeless women who shared quiet understanding but little conversation. Each night, she whispered prayers into the darkness, asking God only for one thing: let me survive tomorrow. There was one stretch of road known among homeless women as the safer place. It wasn't comfortable, but it offered protection, numbers, familiarity, a sense of belonging. But safety is fragile on the streets. One night, a gang of aggressive girls claimed the area, terrorizing anyone who dared to stay. Chineneye and the others were forced to flee, scattering into the unknown. Fear pressed heavy against her chest as she walked until her legs gave out. The first bridge she saw became her shelter. Beneath it were others, women just like her, displaced, exhausted, holding on to survival by sheer will. She curled up on the cold ground, unaware that this bridge, of all places, would become the doorway to her future. Morning arrived softly. Sunlight filtered through the cracks above the bridge. Chineneye stirred, unaware she was being watched, not with suspicion, but with curiosity. Nearby, a professional photo shoot was supposed to be happening. A creative director waited impatiently for a model who was running late. That's when he noticed her. She wasn't posed, she wasn't trying, but something about the way she carried herself, even in sleep, caught his attention. Her features were striking, her presence undeniable. On impulse, he approached gently and asked a simple question. "Can I take your photo?" She hesitated, then nodded. The moment Chineneye stood up, something shifted. Clothes were borrowed, shoes somehow fit perfectly, and when the camera lifted, magic happened. She moved instinctively, every pose natural, every expression powerful. Confidence radiated from her, though she didn't even know it yet. The creative director was stunned. She wasn't trained, she wasn't pretending, she was the moment. Each click of the camera revealed what hardship had not destroyed: grace, strength, and beauty born through survival. When it ended, Chineneye accepted a small tip with gratitude, believing the moment was over. She had no idea. The world had just seen her. Stephen returned to his studio later that day and uploaded a few edited images, expecting nothing more than quiet appreciation from his creative circle. But the internet had other plans. Within hours, the photos began to spread. Comments poured in. "Who is she? Where did you find her?" Fashion blogs reposted the images. Influencers shared them with captions that read, "Beauty can't be hidden." Chineneye's face, once ignored by the streets, was now everywhere. People were drawn not just to her looks, but to something deeper. Her eyes told a story of survival, resilience, and unbreakable spirit. The world wanted to know more. Stephen searched the streets for days, returning to the bridge, asking around, hoping she hadn't disappeared again. When he finally found her, he didn't speak about fame or money. He spoke gently, honestly. He told her what had happened to her photos. He told her people were asking for her. At first, Chineneye didn't believe him. Life had taught her not to trust sudden miracles. But when Stephen showed her the images, her images, being shared across the world, something inside her shifted. Hope, long buried under fear, slowly began to breathe again. Back in the neighborhood she had fled, the vile images reached a familiar pair of eyes. Her stepmother stared at the screen in disbelief. The girl she had cast aside, the one she had humiliated and driven away, was now being celebrated. Jealousy burned quickly into desperation. She began searching for Chineneye, telling anyone who would listen that she was her daughter. She rehearsed tears. She spoke of regrets. She said she wanted to bring her home. But the truth was simple. She wanted control. And perhaps a share of the spotlight. Word reached Chineneye that her stepmother was looking for her. Fear tightened her chest. But this time, she didn't run blindly. She made a decision rooted in strength, not panic. she would not be found, not by someone who had once broken her spirit. She changed where she slept. She trusted only Stephen. And when he asked if she would consider modeling professionally, she agreed on one condition: he would be her manager. There was something about him that felt safe, something that told her he would protect her interests when she had no one else. Stephen kept his promise. He arranged meetings, guided her carefully, and refused to rush her into anything she didn't understand. When Chineneye walked into a prestigious modeling agency for the first time, she felt out of place, barely recognizing herself in the mirrors and clean white walls. But the moment she stepped in front of the camera again, the room went silent. She didn't just model clothes, she commanded attention. The agency signed her almost immediately. The girl who once slept under a bridge had just stepped onto a runway she never knew existed. Photo shoots turned into campaigns. Campaigns turned into international opportunities. By 2021, Chineneye was modeling full-time. Her work was studied, her presence refined. But her story, the bridge, the streets, the survival, remained part of her power. She wasn't just beautiful, she was unstoppable. Every time she stepped onto a set, she carried the memory of hunger, fear, and nights without shelter. And that memory fueled her excellence. Her stepmother never found her. And even if she had, it wouldn't have mattered. Chineneye was no longer a girl to be controlled. She was a woman who had reclaimed her life. The streets no longer defined her. Neither did cruelty. Neither did loss. From under a bridge to standing on the world's stage, Chineneye became proof that destiny cannot be destroyed. Sometimes, it only waits for the right moment to rise. If you are watching this and feel invisible, if life has stripped you of safety, comfort, or hope, remember this story. Your beginning does not decide your ending. And sometimes, the place that breaks you is the very place your destiny finds you.